SPD emergency. Power Rangers to the rescue. Heroes on your side, heroes on both sides. Yeah, you get the idea. Hey, Wolfpack, we're back with another surprise tier list. Catastrophe's back, doing another Power Ranger show. This time we're ranking the last Power Ranger show I ever watched back in my kittenhood, SPD. Yep, we got all the characters here, all the Rangers, they're one-shot monsters, they're big villains, both sides of Moira, everyone. Gonna be ranking all the characters on a tier list tonight. So, Power Rangers SPD is the last Power Ranger show I ever watched, and honestly, a lot of people seem to agree it was one of the last good Power Ranger shows we had in a long while, because it went downhill from after this point onward. Power Rangers SPD is basically the Rangers are cops. They're rescue heroes, sort of like Lightspeed Rescue, but more in line with their Time Force counterparts, actually taking place in the future of 2025. Which is conveniently this year, so it feels appropriate to finally tackle this show. Surprised you haven't done Dino Thunder tier list yet, by the way. Might be saving Dino Thunder for later. My next Power Ranger show most likely is going to be either Dino Thunder or In Space, because I really love both those, and it's a win-win whichever path we choose. Alright, so, gonna be ranking all the characters down here. We have all the Rangers, including Nova, who appeared in like one episode, so pretty much everyone who's mattered in this show. Sadly, we do not have the Dino Thunder Rangers on this tier list. Sorry, I just didn't think their event was that special, but we do have their arch nemesis, Zeltrax, on here. What's up? Hey, Masked Mailard. Glad you made it. We're talking about Power Rangers SPD, another Power Rangers show. This one I recently started rewatching because I wanted to see the Haunting Hour villain, the Game Master from Game Over, is in this show. He plays Red Ranger Jack, and it is hilarious knowing that this guy would go on to play a Haunting Hour villain. Yeah, Jack is played by the Games Master from the Haunting Hour's Game Over, which really shocked me. I knew I recognized this guy from somewhere, and it wasn't until I did my Haunting review on that episode that I realized, oh crap, that's the Red SPD Ranger. He's the final boss on the Haunting Hour. So yeah, SPD... not one of the top tier Ranger shows. It is one of the last decent Power Ranger shows for a long while. It did kind of go downhill. We do not talk about Operation Overdrive. Samurai sucked. Megaforce sucked. RPM has love it or hate it reaction. I know there's some people who do defend RPM. And we do not talk about Beast Morphers. So yeah, SPD was one of the last shows that Ranger fans absolutely thought was one of the best shows. Me, I thought it was fine. I rewatched it. I used to love it as a kitten. Here, a bit more flawed than normal. I think Dino Thunder was the last S-tier Ranger show. We might talk about that one in the future, but right now I'm currently on In Space, which I've been looking forward to rewatching forever, and I got my brother Wolf into rewatching it. So yeah, SPD, basically, the Rangers are full-time jobs. They're military officers, they're cops. Being a Power Ranger, once again, is an actual paying job this time. SPD is in the future. I believe they imply that they're after the Time Force time, but it doesn't make any sense because Time Force existed all the way to the year 3000 while they're in 2025, and they say the Time Rangers are outdated. I think Sky is like implied to be Wes's son. That's what a lot of fans think, but it adds kind of a depressing feel that Wes might have died. Anyways, SPD, they're basically cops trying to fight an evil galactic conqueror, the Emperor Grum here, and his cosmic forces of evil, who are trying to invade the Earth. They want to take over the world, of course. And of course, it's up to the SPD Rangers to foil his schemes and get into wacky hijinks along the way. So I thought SPD was decent. It's one of the more watchable Power Ranger shows. Not perfect, but there's a lot of highs and a decent amount of mess. So, SPD, I wanted to rank all the characters because everybody loves my Power Ranger tier lists. So, if this is your first tier list ever, gonna be ranking all the characters who mattered, including one-shot characters, up here on this tier list from best to worst. So, up top, we have Savior of the Universe. These are the 10 out of 10s, the perfect ones, the S tier, the greatest characters of this show, and possibly Power Rangers history. Then, next, we have A Squad. These ones are good, but not great. They were missing that extra push to be a savior of the universe, but they are total A characters. They're entertaining, they do their job, people like them, but I just don't think they're 100% perfect. Then we have the B Squad. These ones are okay. They're alright, they're mid, they're mediocre, they're right smack in the middle. Had a lot of good, but an equal amount of bad, just kind of meh. They're right here in okay, because they're definitely good characters, but not good enough to be one of the fan favorites. Then we have Piggy Bootleg. These ones, weak, forgettable. We'll be seeing a lot of monsters of the week type of characters, a lot of one-shot characters. They're definitely average. There was something there. They could have been great, but overall, just kind of meh. You kind of forgot them. Then at the bottom, Guilty. These are the bad, the lame ducks, the pathetic, worst characters of the show, or possibly just lame monsters. We'll only be seeing like only a few down here, but unfortunately, if you know SPD, might see some people going down here. Hi, Sam. But yeah, I'm gonna be ranking them all from best to worst, all these characters up on this tier list, so you get the idea. So I guess we should start with the character we always start with, the Red Ranger. SPD Red, Jack, played by the Haunting Hours Games Master. Going up onto A Squad. Yeah, it's very close. However, I do not like this character's conclusion. Hey, Master Maillard. Glad you made it. Okay, so real talk. Jack is either a character you love or hate. I did end up liking him as the show went on, but this is not one of the all-time favorite Red Rangers ever. He's played by the Games Master from Game Over. If you don't remember Game Over, one of the weirder, quirky Haunting Hour episodes, it was pretty hilarious seeing Jack's actor being a villain on the Haunting Hour and being one of the most fan-favorite Red Rangers ever. So, Jack is basically a delinquent. He's pretty much like a street urchin. He's at first hanging out on the streets. He's helping like Robin Hood, stealing from the rich, giving to the poor. Jack wants to bring good to society. However, his methods are not very heroic. The SPD cadets actually Sky, Bridge, and Sid all come across Jack, and Z, our Yellow Ranger, basically arresting him. He is? Yeah, this is the Games Master from the Haunting Hours Game Over. I was surprised. I recognized the Games Master from somewhere when I saw him on the Haunting Hour, but I couldn't put my finger on it. It wasn't until I did research for my Game Over review that I realized, oh wow, it's the Red SPD Ranger. Yeah, no wonder. He was a Power Ranger. Jack was pretty good, not at first, but like the other Rangers, they definitely improved throughout the series. Yeah, this is either gonna make or break this show for you. The Rangers in this show are all kind of dicks. They're all completely full of themselves, they're all egotistical, they're all pretty immature brats, and over the course of the series, all of them mature, but it's kind of my problem. They all have the same arc. Basically, going from a pathetic newbie dick into being a humble, noble hero, and Jack is definitely one of them. Jack is basically this homeless guy who's helping other homeless people, stealing from the rich, giving to the poor. The cadets try to arrest him and Z, however, the Crybots start their invasion, and Jack and Z decide to go back and help save the cadets. And Jack and Z save them but get arrested, and they're given a chance. They either go to prison or become recruited as a part of SPD. SPD is a super protection division. Basically, they're a military Power Ranger force, and Jack is reluctant at first, but he eventually caves in and becomes the Red Ranger. And over the course of the series, it's basically Jack being forced to become humble, obey the rules, obey his leadership, listen to his teammates. Jack is kind of a dickhead. He actually abuses his Red Ranger authority at first for like the first third of the series. However, he gets put in his place by Doggy Kruger, who was a much better character than him. In fact, the big plus on why I like the SPD team, they really don't get along in the first few episodes, however, they do mature and do end up knowing what it's like to be a true team. Yeah, that's exactly their character arc and why some people defend them. The SPD Rangers, they're all kind of dicks. The Rangers do not like each other in this show. However, over the course of the series and wacky adventures, they slowly become friends and true teammates. All the SPD Rangers basically get knocked down a peg, knocked off their high horse. They train and work hard to become the best Ranger team ever, and they slowly gain respect. Sky is kind of sexist towards Sid. Sid is a bratty woman child. Z is kind of a lone wolf. Bridge is kind of a socially awkward, antisocial weirdo, and Jack is a total dick. However, they slowly morph their friendship and become true companions by the end. My only problem with that was they all kind of had the same character arc, where they all had to become nicer, basically, by the end. Different backstories, but ultimately the same results. So, Jack is pretty much an interesting Red Ranger. He does mature pretty fast. At least by the halfway point, he becomes a much more competent Ranger. He is willing to sacrifice himself for his other Rangers. He takes like a suicide mission over Sky, trying to blow up a meteor that's going to kill them upon impact. He proves himself, proves he's a leader. However, what dropped him out of S is how they end this character. In the finale, completely out of nowhere, Jack decides he's tired of being a Ranger. He wants to get a civilian life and retire, which, yeah, it comes out of nowhere. It is not foreshadowed. It is not built up to. It could have worked considering Jack's character, because Jack cares about helping people. Jack realizes that he's like been a ranger slash cop for too long, and he wants to get back to helping the little guy. He has an out of nowhere last minute hookup with this other chick who's giving clothes donations, and Jack decides he wants a life. He wants to become a civilian again. He wants to help the little people, even though he was kind of doing that by being a Power Ranger. But yeah, I do not like how the finale treats Jack. Basically, he gets tired of being a soldier. He gets tired of being a ranger. He ultimately helps him defeat Grum and saves the day, and after Doggy Kruger is the one who defeats Emperor Grum, Jack decides, yep, he's out, he's given up the red mantle, and Sky becomes finally promoted to the Red Ranger like he always wanted to be, and Jack is now just an ordinary civilian until the crossover demands he gets back in the saddle. So yeah, Jack, I did kind of like him. I really wish they did a lot more with him. He is not one of my all-time favorite Red Rangers, which especially hurts because he's coming after we talked about both Wes and Leo, two of the S-tier Red Rangers, but Jack came so close, but I was not really happy with how the finale kind of wrote him off. He like goes and retires. He rides off into the sunset with this girl he knew for like a week. Anyways, Jack, he's gone on to A Squad. It is pretty funny that this actor would actually go on to do a lot of bigger things, including guest starring on The Haunting Hour, where he would become a lame boss fight in the Game Over. I wouldn't mind it as much if they foreshadowed it and set it up well. Yeah, I fully agree, Mass Mailard. But it was just kind of added in out of nowhere. Yeah, that's my point. There is no leadway into Jack quitting the Force. It is like not foreshadowed at all. In fact, I think he actually liked being a Red Ranger. He liked his friends, and he was making a bigger difference as an SPD agent. But no, with absolutely no buildup, he decides in the finale he's tired of it, and he goes off to live his happily ever after, an accomplished trooper. Yeah, they defeated Emperor Grum, and we'll probably see him again in the crossover, but yeah. SPD emergency. Hey, Jeffrey, you're in time. We're just finishing up Jack. I'll put him on A Squad. He was definitely a unique Red Ranger, but fell very short, most specifically in his ending. But we'll put the Games Master up top in his boss level A Squad. Alright, so speaking of which, we should also talk about our main villain. No, not the evil Omni Brain Man. No, Grum. Emperor Grum. Ooh, might upset some people, but Grum also going on to A. Grum was an interesting villain at first, until they clearly ran out of stuff to do with him. Emperor Grum is kind of the main face of the evil team. Grum is mistakenly believed to be the main villain of the series. However, why he doesn't make it to S is he's basically cucked by his true master Omni, who is completely off screen and never built up to, and he's kind of the real leader behind their empire. Power Rangers SPD had a female Red Ranger. Yeah, they did. Too bad she was evil. So, Emperor Grum really liked his design, creepy, evil overlord, trying to go for kind of a dark side / Ghost Rider look. Loved the creepy Skeletor kind of look. He's a cybernetic skull man. Basically, he's the emperor of the Trudian Empire. Grum is an infamous galactic conqueror, spreading his regime and conquest across the galaxy, his next planet in line, of course, being Earth, where he runs afoul of the SPD team. Grum is kind of the real force behind the Empire. We're led to believe he's the main villain, but spoilers, he's not. Grum had a lot of entertaining moments. He was very creepy, very funny at times, and truly a brilliant mastermind at certain points. However, I do think he was kind of overshadowed by both Moira and Broodwing. They were much better. Emperor Grum was an okay villain, pretty badass design, and wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty, yeah. Though loses points for not being the true villain, and it's hard to understand him sometimes. Yeah, he had that weird mask, and yes, the actual actor who voiced him was wearing that costume. You could see, what's his name, is Renee something, is like wearing this heavy armor. Sometimes you could see his eyes through the red laser skull lights there. But yeah, Emperor Grum, pretty badass. His rivalry is more so with Kruger. He's Kruger's archenemy and not really Jax, and I think that was kind of a misstep. The Red Ranger and the main villain do not come head to head. He's Kruger's archenemy, which made me really wish that Kruger and Dr. Cat were the real main characters. But yeah, basically Kruger is his archenemy because Emperor Grum destroyed his planet and he took his wife hostage and held her captive for like 100 years. Yeah, it is also kind of out of nowhere, and it was just there to give Doggy a happy ending. The actor also plays Mentor G from Samurai, though that's a huge step down since he was a worse character. Yeah, because Power Ranger Samurai was a piece of crap. So, as Shadow Link said, Grum was not afraid to get his hands dirty. He did get involved, he did get off his throne and off his ass and did stuff. I do think Broodwing and Moira were much better villains because they were more entertaining and had a lot more complex villain schemes going on. Grum, basically kind of the Skeletor of the show. He's sitting on his throne, making commands, gets his hands dirty, gets into fights. His personality, I would describe, he's more so an arrogant, anger-prone bully. He picks on Moira a lot, picks on Broodwing, threatens his minions. He's bossing others around, and he gets pissed off and enraged, sending him into like a gladiator attack mode. I think they tried to make him kind of like Megatron, this badass conqueror. However, as I said, he got kind of cucked in the finale. It turns out Grum is not the real villain. He's actually the whipping boy of Omni, who we have no idea even exists until like the final 5 episodes. Which, yeah, knocked him down off of S tier. Grum should have been a Starscream type of villain plotting against his master. I mean, Astronema also technically wasn't the main villain, but she took over and proved her worth, whereas Grum didn't. I will give props to this. Grum and Doggy's rivalry is easily excellent. Loved how he's pretty much at fault for Doggy's entire character and depression and tragedy. How he took his wife hostage, and Grum, despite losing everything, all his followers, his empire, in the finale, after his master is destroyed and his ship is totaled, Grum decides to have one last man-to-man fight with Doggy, where Doggy finally overcomes his enemy and slashes off his other horn, and imprisons Grum forever. Yep, Grum is just locked into prison, one of the first villains who doesn't die. But yeah, that is pretty much the end of him, and Grum is taken away. He was technically the final boss in that sense, but kinda wasted. He was alright as a villain, but very generic. Just like typical evil space overlord. He's kind of like Darkseid or Megatron, but with a lot less personality and backstory. Hey, Light Jones. Hey, glad you made it. Hey, Grum is going on to A Squad. He was definitely decent, but eventually got cucked. Speaking of which, let's take Omni down. Omni going on to Guilty. Both him and his stupid CGI form. Omni is the true mastermind behind the Trudian Empire, basically this big-ass mother brain. He looks more like the comet monster from Billy and Mandy in that form. Basically this big mother brain that's powering Emperor Grum's ship. Moira finally discovers that he's there, and he's basically the real brains of the operation. However, he's introduced in like the last 4 episodes, so he doesn't really get any character. He just puts Grum in his place. Basically, he's Grum's boss, and he builds himself the ultimate body from Earth's resources, this hideous CGI monster here, and yeah, he's anticlimactically defeated in a very quick Megazord fight. Emperor Grum and Moira should have been the main villains, but this guy being introduced, total letdown, no personality, no backstory, and his relationship with Grum is completely unexplained, and he has the most rushed boss fight ever. I feel like he was only here for having that final giant kick-ass Megazord fight. Boo! Yeah, that was a problem with the final 2 episodes. The 2-parter felt rushed, cramming up so much. Yeah, there were good moments in the finale, but it should have been a 3-parter. Yeah, fully agree, and Omni, definitely a letdown. They should have made the A-Squad the real main final bosses working for Grum, but no, this huge mother brain is introduced and very rushed. He has this really hideous CGI battle, and it has not aged well, and total letdown. Once he becomes this monster, he kind of stops talking altogether, so Grum can be the main voice of the evil empire, but yeah, taken out by the friggin' Omega Ranger, and yeah, that's the end. He's destroyed in a giant monster fight, and Kruger, like, blows up the weird tower that's giving him power, which any of the Rangers could have done, yeah. Omni sucks as a villain. He cucked Grum and pretty much stole the spotlight in the finale, and he was just a generic Doomsday villain, going on to Guilty. Grum was, but he also wasn't. Grum was not the big bad. No, in the final 5 episodes, it's revealed he's serving Omni, his real boss, who was basically in this chamber, like, healing and powering himself all along. Grum is actually the whipping boy for this thing, and Grum builds him a new body so he can be the final boss, but Kruger defeats him. Yeah, my problem with the finale, it rushed a lot. Should have been a 3-parter, and it doesn't help that my last show for Rangers I watched was Lost Galaxy, which had one of the greatest finales ever, and here, they kind of rushed the main villains and a whole bunch of plot threads. It had way too much going on, and some stuff was good, but some stuff got way too screwed over. Just missed your Lost Galaxy tier by day, but wanted to say I was lucky to have met Amy. Yeah, Amy Miller. I know who you're talking about. Don't worry, you got a video related to Lost Galaxy coming out, so you can mention it there too. Amy Miller is pretty cool, because they tried pulling this bad CGI and rushed episode. This is Power Rangers we're talking about. That's something that I cannot be biased for when it comes to Power Rangers. Well, here's the thing, Light Jones. Even with some of the rushed finales of earlier shows, they were at least good. The Time Force finale is awesome, the Lost Galaxy finale is awesome, and Power Rangers in Space, which had its budget cut in half, has one of the greatest Ranger finales of all time, and it had much less money and power than SPD did. Here, SPD throws so much all together and throws a whole bunch at you at once, and it makes you kind of wish they deleted some of the stupider episodes to focus more on these plot threads. Yeah, Omni was such a nothing addition. Honestly, Omni could have been written out altogether, and it could have been a generic Monster of the Week Grum superpowered. But no, Omni's going on to Guilty. Alright, so let's get someone on S tier. Let's talk about the Blue Ranger Sky. Sky, possibly the son of Wes and Jen, but nothing concrete. Sky, going on to Savior of the Universe. Yep, another good Blue Ranger, mostly because Sky had some of the greatest character development of the show. Liked him a lot more than Jack, even with his asshole attitude. Grum was certainly a far cry from the other villains you've discussed in these tiers. Yeah, that's kind of why he's on A. it doesn't help that my last show was Lost Galaxy, which had Trakina, Deviat, and Villamax, who were all S-tier villains, but Grum kind of paled in comparison. The problem with him, he was just too generic. That was my problem. He was very generic and didn't really get much of his backstory revealed until the finale, where he became Doggy Kruger's arch-nemesis. Would you say that the finale for SPD is as bad as the conclusion to Game Over episode of The Haunting Hour? No, because Game Over at least had the excuse of being a standalone episode. The finale had 2 parts and rushed too much. Ah yes, Sky. Started as a dick, but he definitely improved the most. Plus, he arguably had the best focused episodes. Yeah, Sky, basically, kind of like Kai, our Lost Galaxy Ranger, he's uptight, by the book, stick in the mud, dead serious cop, who slowly but surely loosens up, starts to relax, treats the Rangers like his friends and true companions, rather than his co-workers. Sky starts out as a total arrogant dick. He believes he's owed the rank of Red Ranger. He's implied to be the son of Wes because his dad was a Time Force Ranger. Again, very confusing continuity since Time Force would exist all the way up to the year 3000, but the show took place in 2025, so Time Force somehow became obsolete in all that time, but yeah, continuity. Great continuity. So, Sky's kind of a dick, but over time, he matures, he gets better, he starts treating the Rangers like his friends. He actually sexistly says that Sid shouldn't be the Red Ranger because she's a girl. Then in the finale, total 180, he says now he would believe Sid would make a perfect Red Ranger, and actually praises her as a true companion, finally earning him the rank of Red Ranger by the end. Sky basically matures into a better person. He becomes a more friendlier cop, becomes a true companion to the Rangers, and actually his arc is to work hard and earn the rank of being a Red Ranger. He has to learn the responsibility. Basically, being blue is supposed to humble him because he has to listen to someone at less experience than him. There is a reasonable explanation for that. So, Sky had some of the best episodes too. He body swaps with an evil alien criminal and he learns what it's like to be on the other side. Sky has to tear down his walls and trust other people. He has a best friend who was also an alien mutant criminal, but Drew turned out to be a bad egg and Jack was right, and Sky realized he should have listened to Jack. Sky, a lot of great character development. He was far better than Jack in every way, mostly because you felt like he was changing and he was getting better. And by the finale, he's willing to sacrifice himself for Jack. He volunteers for a suicide mission so Jack wouldn't have to die, but very sad and detached because Jack ends up taking the suicide mission himself and destroys the meteor. In the finale, Sky takes charge. They stop Broodwing from destroying the SPD command center, going on a rampage in his Megazord. He starts listening to Jack. He finally listens to the higher authority figures and stops believing he's on top of everyone else. Finally eats his slice of humble pie and becomes Red Ranger at the end after finally growing up. Once Jack resigns, which I still don't like, Sky reveals that he trusts his companions and wouldn't mind if any of them took the Red Ranger position, but it was all a secret test of character for the entire series, and Sky finally becomes a Red Ranger, doing his father Wes proud. Okay, I need to get this off my chest, but in Lost Galaxy, my favorite character / villain, and I was hoping that he'd still be around, but no, they need to write him off. Are you talking about Scorpius or Deviat? What did you think of Super Ninja Steel? Never watched it because I heard it was awful. Alright, let's get some one-shot characters off the list. The mocap guy from Robot Palooza. We'll put him on B Squad. His power is pretty cool. Basically, he was another one-shot monster of the week. He brings back a lot of familiar faces, and they recycle a bunch of past villains. This guy is actually a mocap robot wearing a mocap suit, which created the illusions of the past villains coming back. I'll put him on B Squad because his powers were pretty cool. He brought back a lot of old faces. And The weird giant robot thing, yeah, this giant robot was like buried underground, and Broodwing and one of his mad scientists tried to summon it, where they abduct a robot girl. The Rangers help the robot girl because she's the only one that can control this thing, thanks to her cybernetic powers, and the villain of the week uses her to unlock this giant rampaging monster, but thanks to the robot girl, they help her and they defeat it. It was an episode about prejudice because the Rangers are racist towards her because she hid the fact that she was part robot, but see the error of their ways and let her back in. I envy that decision. Rick. Robot dog. Yeah, we'll put Rick on A. This is their cute robot companion. Rick is basically this robot police dog who at first Sid treats like crap because he's an obsolete model. However, he gets an upgrade and Sid regrets her ways. Basically, Sid and Rick form an odd kinship and Rick basically transforms into their big super duper ranger gun. Furio was my favorite character / villain. It was sad that he had needed to be written off. Oh, you're talking about Furio. Yeah, he was pretty cool. I would have put him higher, but I did not like his death scene, and it was so abrupt that I kind of forgot that it killed him. Basically, the energy of the lights of Orion overwhelmed him, and he died, and we only see, like, in a brief blink and you'll miss it moment, his hand falls dead to the ground, and that is the complete end of Furio, and we don't even see him explode. Yeah, Rick. Sad visible fact about... Oh, okay, you deleted that one. Okay, so the CGI on Rick has not aged very well. It doesn't look awful in motion, but it's one of those CGI that looks bad when it's aligned with real life people. And yeah, you can pretty much tell this was a cartoon. Rick was a cute, adorable companion. I liked him in Sid's episode the most because Sid is kind of a bitch to him at first and doesn't care that he needs to die because he's obsolete. However, he takes a bullet / laser shot for Sid, and Sid regrets her bitchiness and actually helps heal him, and he becomes Rick 2.0. Rick is revived and upgraded, where he transforms into their badass super duper ranger gun. Yeah, I'll put Rick on A squad. Okay, don't recognize this guy. I'll put him on Piggy Bootleg. Looks like another generic villain. This is not Miraloxa, no. Moira's drawing character. I like this weird cloud. It looks cool, like a cool design, but all it did was drive around a giant evil Megazord, and that was about it. No personality, no funny lines, just a cool design. I'll put him on B. There's Deviant. No, this is not Lost Galaxy's Deviant. They just recycled his outfit for like the 5th time. I love Deviant, but we'll put him on B squad because it's another monster of the week. One of Broodwing's mad scientist characters who does another villainous scheme to kill the Rangers. It is hilarious how many times Deviant's outfit got recycled on this show. The SPD theme, yay or nay? I'll say yay. I think it sounds pretty good. Heroes on your side, heroes for all time, off to save the universe. Yeah, it sounds really cool. I highly recommend listening to the Power Rangers epic theme songs. Yeah, those sound really good. The Magician. Yeah, Magician we'll put on Piggy Bootleg. He was an okay villain, but his stupid assistant did a lot more than he actually did. One of Broodwing's robots, also going on to Bootleg. We'll also dump all of Broodwing's stupid generals onto Piggy Bootleg. All these guys did was show up and die. Yeah, Broodwing had like 3 generals back him up, and all he did was pretty much just get killed. They were cannon fodder. Speaking of which, all these corrupt businessman Broodwing blackmails also going on to Piggy Bootleg. Yeah, all these guys did were also act as minions he blackmailed, and they all died horribly too. The sad visible fact about Furio is that even I will say is that I guess his suit was so uncomfortable that his most effective weapon was not his sword but his kicks. Yeah, the monster suits are usually hit or miss for some of the actors wearing them. Let's do the alien that mind-controlled Sky. Him will actually put on A squat because he almost succeeds. This guy basically body swaps with Sky. He's an evil hacker alien who tries to take over Megazords, and he pretends to be arrested where he swaps bodies with Sky. Sky becomes this guy trapped in his monster bod while he steals Sky's identity and nearly succeeds at hijacking the Power Rangers Megazord. Goes on a rampage, and Sky basically gets his humbling journey where he knows what it's like to be an alien who can't speak English, be accused of being a criminal even though he's trying to save the Rangers. Only Power Rangers theme I don't recommend is Operation Overdrive's. Even the other bad Power Rangers series had some good substance to their theme songs. Overdrive's theme is a terrible rap mess. Even Vipra fought the Rangers more than Grum ever did. Yeah, that is pretty sad. Vipra got her claws dirty a lot more than Grum did. So, Operations Overdrive theme, I've never heard of it, so I might avoid it altogether. I know I did not like Turbo's theme very much. Shift into Turbo. That song did not stick out in my memory at all. I think Zeo even had a better theme song, and all they did was add Go Zeo at the end of the Mighty Morphin song. By any chance, have you noticed that Furio likes to use kicks a lot when he fights? No, I did not. I might rewatch that just to see him. He's only in like the first 10 episodes before the Magna Defender kills him. Evil convict looking guy. We'll also put you on Piggy Bootleg. Alright, let's talk about a Ranger. Let's do another S tier. Z, the Yellow Ranger. SPD Yellow. Z, going on to Savior of the Universe. I think all SPD fans agree that she was easily the most likable Ranger in the entire lineup. So, Z has a shared backstory with Jack. They were both pretty much homeless orphans acting like Robin Hood type heroes. However, the difference between Jack and Z actually wanted to do good. Z wanted to be in a more higher position of power, doing real good and not robbing from people in order to give it to homeless people. Z wanted to be accomplished as a hero. Z actually gets arrested with Jack when they save the cadets from the Crybots. However, Z willingly takes Doggy Kruger's proposal to either rot in prison or become a Ranger. Z jumps at the opportunity and likes being a Power Ranger. She really enjoys being a teammate. Z is actually one of the few heroic Rangers who's actually nice on the team, and she also is kind of full of herself at times, but gets a lot better faster than the rest of the guys. Yeah, Z is great. One of my favorite Yellow Rangers. Well, if you've been to my tier list, you know I prefer Maya. Maya's my favorite Ranger girl because she's my Power Rangers crush. Z, really kick-ass, really lovable, really like her. Z is basically, personality-wise, kind of a punk rocker. We see she's a bad roommate to Sid. That is like her one flaw. She's like a total slob. She has rock posters and makes their room a mess. She and Sid do not get along until they become girlfriends by the end of the series. Yeah, they're high-fiving each other, respecting each other. Z doesn't have too much character arc because her character gets resolved very early. In the two-parter Sam, we finally learn Z's backstory. The Rangers in this show, half of them are mutants. They have superpowers themselves. And Z has the power to create like kind of clones of herself. They're illusions. They're hard light clones. They're projections of herself. Z can clone herself with shadow clones, and in her childhood, she was kind of bullied and picked on because she had a weird superpower. The kids were cruel to her, and Z basically ran away from her life because she couldn't take it, and lived on the streets ever since until she became a Ranger. And Z actually relates with Sam when he's also a mutant being picked on because of his powers. Z relates with him and gets into this emotional journey about trying to prove that she's a better friend for him than Moira and the evil toy maker monster. In my opinion, it was anything. Oh, sorry, gotta catch up on comments. What do you think was the golden age of Power Rangers, and when do you think it truly ended? For me, the best stretch was Power Rangers from In Space to SPD. Yeah, in space, kick-ass show. I know a lot of people love Mighty Morphin. It's honestly pretty fun, but I did not grow up with Mighty Morphin. That show was on before I was even alive and out of my mom's womb. So yeah, I did not grow up with Mighty Morphin. I did not even know Zeo existed. I remember people talking about Turbo. They did rerun it on ABC Family at the time. I remember the Rangers being cooked in a giant pizza, but not much else. I first introduced to Power Rangers through In Space. My dad got me like the VHS of the Psycho Rangers arc, and loved Power Rangers from that point onward. So for me, I would definitely say In Space, all the way to Dino Thunder. Dino Thunder is the last great S-tier Power Rangers show. SPD, I did like, and I do think it's decent, but not one of my favorites. I'm doing this tier list because it's one of the last Ranger shows I ever watched. In my opinion, it was anything after Ninja Steel. No, guy, like Jones, Megaforce was god-awful, and Beast Morphers pissed everyone off. Probably after RPM, even though Dino Charge was a good series in the Neo Sabana era, Samurai, Ninja Steel, and especially Megaforce were not. Yeah, Samurai sucked, Ninja Steel sucked, Megaforce sucked, Beast Morphers absolutely sucked, and it's worse because they got Billy and Jason back in that show. I agree. Hi, Kat. Hey, Akira. Yep, we're doing SPD. We're finishing up Z right now, one of the underrated Yellow Rangers. I did grow to like her. Z's kind of sassy. She's upfront about her feelings, and unlike the others, she's more nicer. She's the street smart ranger. She knows people well. She's more of a social butterfly, and she calls out the other rangers when they're being too dickish. Has a bit of an ego, but all the rangers have egos in this show. Basically, she becomes fast friends with everyone else, and Z is one of the best Yellow Rangers ever. She does her job, she actually cares about helping people, and Z fulfills her dream of bringing good and justice in a much higher power, which was ultimately the end goal of her character arc. So, I do like her. We'll put her on Savior of the Universe. Finally got 2 S-tier characters. Okay, so, let's do the Crybots, our minions of the series. Going on to B. Yep, we're back to basic, generic minion monsters. The Crybots are such a desperately obvious attempt to recreate the Cyclobots from Time Force. They want these guys to be a new generation Cyclobots, and not against that, however, they did not succeed. For one thing, their outfits are generic. If you can't tell, they're wearing ninja suits with disco ball heads. Yep, that is the extent of their design. Compared to the Cyclobots and the Stingwingers, and especially the Quantrons, who are S-tier minions in my opinion, the Crybots, a lot more generic. I know they're generic minions, and the minions didn't really matter because they're just foot soldiers who get punk killed by the Rangers, but the Crybots were kind of a pathetic rehash of the Cyclobots and did not stand out. I did not think they were cool. They really wanted these guys to be like the Cyclobots. They have their weird jerky movements and their funny designs, and it didn't work. They were kind of forgettable. Yeah, Crybots weren't that impressive. The higher up foot soldiers, yeah, blue heads and orange heads would have made better foot soldiers. Yeah, just about to get to that. So, where are you? I'm looking at the orange head had a smaller picture on here. Okay, here they are. Yeah, the orange heads, these guys should have been the main villains. They're going on A, and the blue ones, the blue Crybots, these two should have been the real minions. Instead, they're elite Crybots, which, not a bad idea, having the minions get, like, ranks among them like the battle droids. The blue Crybots and the orange heads should have been the true minions, because they have more distinct designs and more cooler appearances, and they can actually talk. Yeah, when's the last time you heard the generic minions talk? The orange heads have the ability to speak, and the blue ones are elite foot soldiers. They actually have guns built into their arms, so yeah, more effective. These two should have been the real main minions, but no, they're only shilled out to be the elite minions, and their highest moment was fighting the Dino Squad. That's Power Rangers fodder characters for you. Well, like Jones, I gave the Stingwinger's S tier. I thought they were cool. The Cyclobots are iconic, and I even defend the Batlings as cool minions. The Quantrons, we haven't gotten to in space yet, but the Quantrons, easily my favorite minions. I do not like the generic Crybots. The orange heads and the blue Cryobots, they should have been the real minions and fodder for the Rangers because they at least looked cool and were more threatening. Like they should have a prison outfit. In my opinion, the Stingwingers were the most convincing minion threats. Yeah, I love them too, mostly because they became suicide bombers and they actually bombed the entire city Al-Qaeda style. Yeah, blue and orange heads should have been the real minions. We'll put them on A. E's Cryobots, generic. They're going on B. Okay, so... let's get Drew out of the way. Drew, Sky's evil best friend, who will actually put into A. This guy, basically, he has a human form. Sky and Drew were both friends back in the academy. However, Drew went down the dark side and became an evil villain, betraying SPD. He and Sky and Jack have a friendship triangle. Jack knows Drew is evil. Sky doesn't want to believe it until Drew eventually reveals his true colors and his true hideous mutant form, leading to Drew and Sky having an epic fight. And one of the first episodes to give Sky deeper character arc, and Drew was a very effective villain because he used Sky's friendship with him against him. Sid is next. Yeah, Drew is one of the better one-off villains. Fully agree, Shadowlink. We'll put him on A. He had one episode before Sky beat him, but one of the more dramatic SPD stories and a very mature one about toxic friendships and how some people can change for the worst and some can change for the better. We'll put Drew on A squad because he was a more effective one-shot villain, but he's no Venom Mark. Dino Thunder, SPD team up, your thoughts? Okay, do you really want to know? I was very disappointed with the crossover with Dino Thunder. Dino Thunder, one of the best teams in Ranger history, and their crossover with SPD kind of fell short. It wasn't the worst episode ever. They do give the Dino Rangers enough screen time. However, my problem is they don't interact much. There's not enough banter, and the Ranger teams do not like each other in the first one. Yeah, in the first crossover, the Dino Thunder is brought into the future by Broodwing, who wants to use their Dino Crystals for his weapons. However, the SPD Rangers treat the Dino Thunder team like they're nothing, like they're obsolete, they're wannabes, they're washed-ups, and to stay out of it. It's SPD's time, your way is done, and yeah, the Dino Thunder Rangers stand on the sidelines for half of their crossover. And it is a complete spit in the face if you're a Dino Thunder fan, because yeah, SPD and Dino Thunder Rangers do not like each other. It isn't until SPD gets their asses thrashed by Emperor Grum where they finally step in and get their Dino Thunder powers upgraded. Yeah, it's not even all the Dino Thunder Rangers, it's just... I'm trying to remember their names now. It's just red, blue, and yellow, basically. I know Kira, but I forgot the other two. Then in the second one, they go back in time, which I guess should lead us into Zeltrax. This one, absolutely gonna hurt, but okay, we're talking about Zeltrax in this show, not in Dino Thunder. Going on to Guilty. Okay, I want to make it clear, this does not apply to him and his badassery on Dino Thunder. Zeltrax only in the crossover, and Zeltrax completely useless. They cuck him. He is a nothing character in their second crossover. So Grum and Moira go back in time to conquer the Earth in the past Ranzik style, and they team up with Zeltrax, who shows up. This is before Mesogog's defeat. They meet the past Dino Ranger Thunders, so this time they can have Trent and Tommy in the lead. Like, it's a shame that Jungle Fury gave Daishi minions talk with animal symbols on their heads. Yeah, kinda lame. Unfortunately, those scenes with the Stingwinger bombing do not age too well coming years. Yeah, in the coming years. I really liked it for that, though, because it was a hardcore scene. You want Sid next, Akira? Okay, we'll do him after. Drew is one of the better one-off villains. It was the bizarre crossover, especially since they technically had two different episodes. One with the Dino Rangers in SPD time, and the other with SPD going into their time. Yeah, it was a two-parter crossover. Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder crossover was better. Yeah, by a country mile. They actually did the Ninja Storm Rangers justice on that. And it was satisfying seeing Mesogog beat up Lothor. But yeah, barely any interaction with those two episodes. Yeah, so I know Power Rangers has always had a ton of action, and it is cool seeing the Dino Rangers and SPD fighting side by side. However, they don't get any character interactions, which pissed me off because, again, my last show was Lost Galaxy, which had one of the greatest Ranger crossovers of all time to the 10th Power and the Power of Pink. Those crossover episodes are S-tier masterpieces, and it helps that the Rangers actually like each other and interact with each other. SPD and Dino Thunder barely talk to each other. They basically wrap up loose plot threads and have a where are they now kind of feel with the Dino Rangers. Like, I believe his name was Connor. Connor becomes like the head of a sports team. The Blue Ranger becomes an elite scientist working for SPD in the future, and Kira becomes a superstar like she always dreamed of. Very sad Cassie didn't become a superstar, but what are you gonna do? Okay, thank you. Kira, Ethan, and Connor. I forgot Ethan's name. Yeah, Kira, Connor came back to me. The Red Ranger was Connor, but I forgot the Blue Ranger's name. It's Ethan. Thank you, Moonwing. I have no issue with that. Zeltrax was better in Dino Thunder. I do agree, no doubt that it was a solid. The Stingwingers as actual threats, despite being minion characters. Yeah, Stingwingers were S tier. The Crybots, much more generic cannon fodder. Anyways, back to Zeltrax. They did him so dirty. Basically, you think he's gonna team up with Emperor Grum, but no, Emperor Grum pretty much pussy whips Zeltrax and beats him in his place. Zeltrax and his Dino Germ minions are coerced into working for them, and basically they're nothing but cannon fodder. Zeltrax has like one scene with Emperor Grum and he's kind of just an elite minion working for him. Yeah, no ambitions, no look at his character, no additional screen time for the awesome villain that was Zeltrax. In this crossover, he's done dirty. I think Trakina was done better on her crossover. Yeah, if you don't know, Zeltrax, one of the greatest Dino Thunder villains of all time. You will not be able to tell that in this crossover, where he's just some punk Emperor Grem hires, and then he runs away because he's still alive in the main canon. They did him so dirty, he's going on to guilty. He only gets points above the stupid brain monster Omni because Zeltrax was cooler on his different show, but not on this show. The second crossover was so lame, they didn't even have Jason David Frank. Yeah, Tommy never demorphs out of his Black Ranger suit. It's so hilarious. Jason David Frank dubbed lines and mailed them in, but couldn't even make a cameo. Tommy is wearing his suit full time, and the fact that he's not there when Kruger uses the Men in Black neuralizer on everyone, it's kind of adds a plot hole. So does Tommy remember their team up with forces from the future? Kind of hilarious thinking that because, yeah, Tommy awkwardly shows up and disappears because fans were pissed that Tommy and Trent weren't in the first crossover episode. Yeah, they couldn't even get Tommy to show up. What a spit in the face to Dino Thunder. Jason David Frank mailed in his lines, and I guess he was busy doing nothing. Yeah, awful crossover. The second part was awful. The first one, okay, but not one of the best Ranger team-ups of all time. To the 10th Power is still number one. And Zeltrax, you were done dirty. Going on to guilty. Okay, Kira, if you're still here. It's so unbelievable. Yeah, it was. If you're still here, Kira, we'll do Sid. But also really funny. Alright, let's talk about Sid. Boy, do I have some things about this girl. We'll put Sid onto B Squad. Yeah, I know I'm going to upset a lot of people because many will defend that Sid is one of the best Pink Rangers of all time, basically an attempt to make Pamela Anderson a Pink Ranger. However, I was not too keen on her. Sid is not one of my favorite Rangers. She had her moments, had her good episodes. I know she's hot, and yeah, I won't shame anyone who likes her because she's hot. I mean, I like Viper and Trakina, so yeah. But Sid, not one of my favorite pinks, mostly because she's kind of a mean girl. Sid, if SPD was a high school, Sid would be the popular girl. Sid would be the girly girl, the one who's more concerned about her looks, the one who's having fun, who's partying, who doesn't take her ranger duty seriously. However, she too also shapes up and becomes humbled, but honestly not too keen on her. One, she acts like a woman child. Sid like sleeps with a stuffed elephant in like her 20s, so it's kind of weird. I'm here. Hey, Akira. I'm gonna be real, I almost forgot about her. Definitely be the Barbie of girl pink, yeah. So, she's a Barbie girl. She loves fashion, she loves girly things. She's actually a skilled fencer, but spoiler, these fencing skills never come up. The Pink Ranger doesn't even have a sword, she has a gun. Sid's not one of my favorite Pink Rangers. I don't hate her, but I also don't really like her. For one thing, do not always like the popular girl archetype. Sid is kind of the girly girl. She acts kind of like the alpha bitch. Sid is borderline a mean girl at times, basically always shit-talking the other Rangers, thinks very highly of herself, always working on her makeup, getting into a lot of bitch fits with Z because they're both terrible roommates, but over the course of the series, she too does grow up. My favorite episode with Sid is easily her and Rick's episode, where she goes from hating the robot dog into loving him and defending him. Also, I did Ryuku versus SPD Pink Ranger Sid, as Ryuku, Miraculous' first opponent. Okay, I have to rewatch Miraculous still. Like, Sid's actress is better for Barbie than Margot Robbie. Yeah, fully true. A lot of people like Sid because she's hot. Special mention going to her birthday episode, but also in that same episode, she doesn't invite any of the Rangers to her birthday party. Yeah, isn't that a kind of a kick in the teeth? Her friends, her coworkers, the Rangers, are not invited to her birthday party. She says it's like no big deal, but it's kind of obvious she's snubbing them, which made me really hate her. I did not like Sid all that much, because for as many good moments as she also has her nasty, unpleasant, mean girl moments. Yeah, Sid feel like Daphne Blake, except Daphne was a lot more charming. Well, Furio had a powerful sword, yet his kicks were more effective in battle. Enough with the kicks, Light Jones. Was wondering where you'd put Sid, and yeah, she was my least favorite Ranger out of the main five. She's far from the worst, but not the best either. Fully agree, Shadow Link. She falls kind of square in the middle. I think Dana Mitchell is a better Pink Ranger than her. Sid reminds me a bit of Katie, memorable but got overshadowed by her female counterpart. Yeah, Z was the better Ranger. Katie got overshadowed by Jen, but I actually liked Katie because she was nice and friendly. Sid, kind of cold. Sid is better than Chloe from Miraculous. Yeah, that's because Sid isn't a psychopath who became a villain. Yeah, none of my favorite Pink Rangers. Sid is going in the middle. She's not the worst Pink we've ever had, especially if you watched Operation Overdrive, but she's also not all that great either. I'm putting her on B Squad. Sid's not one of my favorite Pinks, and it doesn't help that she didn't have much of a character arc next to the other three up here. Okay, so, evil giant death machine robot. Put you on a piggy bootleg. Cool design, but another boss fight. Trying to find where that weird toy guy was. Alright, oh, here's the toy guy who almost corrupted Sam. Yeah, we'll put you onto B Squad. I really liked his design and his goofy voice. And let's not forget Mooney. Mooney going on to Guilty. We'll put you at least under Zeltrax. Mooney, you were a failure in college and you're a failure as an adult scientist. This guy was Kat's rival and epic failed. He was basically a pawn used by Broodwing. Her actress was a candy stripper in Black Christmas 2006. Oh, really? Well, now I have to rewatch that just to see Sid in that. Okay, Evil Minion, puts you onto Piggy Bootleg. Trying to recognize you. Oh, Mirlock. Yeah, well, let's put you onto A. This is Mirlock, the guy who can use mirrors as his weapon. He's kind of this Hannibal Lecter-esque monster, and he uses Sky's emotions against him. Mirlock is locked in this Hannibal Lecter cell, and no mirrors or reflective surfaces are allowed in this, and he dupes Sky by doing a trade with him. He gives him intel in exchange for a memory, and he gives the intel to Sky. They stop the monster of the week, but when he returns, Mirlock preys upon Sky's emotional vulnerability, reminding him of when his dad died. He asked him, "What's your most saddest memory ever?" And Sky reveals his dad, Wes the Time Ranger's death. The Time Force Red Ranger was killed, and a lot of people speculate it's Wes, but it might not be. It's clearly not the same actor, but yeah, the Red Time Force Ranger died, and it broke Sky forever. And when Sky cries remembering this memory, he uses his single tear to escape his prison cell. Yeah, Mirlock was awesome. Fully agree. He was one of the most deadly villains ever. He was like this Hannibal Lecter type of character in his prison cell, and the moment he escapes through the reflection of Sky's tear, he's on the loose and very deadly to the Rangers. He traps them in mirrorverse worlds, copies their moves, traps even the Megazord in a mirror dimension. He is so cool. We're gonna put him on A Squad. He is one of the best monsters of the week. I wish Mirlock fight the Mirror Master. Mirlock would actually probably win. Katana is there, evil monster. Oh, okay, I know who you're talking about. Katana, the arch. Okay, is this Katana? I thought it wasn't him, but it might be. I'll look through the rest. I know who you're talking about. The more I think about it, even though I hate that Furio dies, I think the reasoning was that they accidentally made for "You're a little bit too powerful. This is not about the kicks." Because Furio doesn't really need to use a sword, he's shown that he shoots red lightning out of his hands. Simply put, if it kept him in, yeah, he'd be a story breaker power. Because God forbid they want a villain that can make the Power Rangers look next to powerless against one of them. Now let's do the Master. Master, we'll put you on B Squad. We'll put you under mocap guy. This was, I believe, the Master. He was the skilled ninjutsu guy. He murdered several monsters off screen, and he traps Bridge in like this jigsaw room. He was a pretty kick-ass combatant, not gonna lie. Really kick-ass monster. Basically a mixed martial artist who Broodwing hires to kill those pesky Power Rangers and nearly wins until Bridge uses his wackiness to defeat him. Okay, having some trouble memorizing these monsters, but we'll put you on here. Put another evil giant robot going on to Piggy Bootleg. Oh, the Trudians. We finally get to see what they look like. They have a cool design, so I'll put them on B. They're above the Cryobots, but they're also kind of generic minions. The Trudians look like these creepy gray aliens, and they look a million times cooler than the Cryobots do too. Like their design, but they're more savage wild man minions. We'll put them on B Squad. I think this is the evil owl guy. Yeah, I'll put you onto Piggy Bootleg too. Yeah, sorry, I wanted to bump off a lot of these. Evil scientist guy. He took the robot girl. We'll put you on to B Squad too, next to the mocap guy. This guy abducted the robot girl and used her to summon this weird thing out of the undercrust of the earth. Yeah, I did like his design. Reminded me a lot of Deviant. This stupid brute, the magician's co-partner. We'll put him right next on Piggy Bootleg. Really stupid minion character. Alright, let's talk about another Ranger. Let's talk about the Orange Ranger. Boom. Psych, there is no Orange Ranger. We'll actually put Boom onto A. Boom is Dr. Kat's goofy-ass lab assistant. Basically, this dorky guy who's kind of the Bulk and Skull hybrid, except he's a good guy. Boom is basically this loser Zoidberg type of scientist who's working with Dr. Cat in her arsenal. Basically, he's her personal assistant, and he screws up all the time, makes a fool of himself, is the butt of many jokes, sort of like Bulk and Skull when they worked for Professor Phenomenus. However, Boom does have a good heart. His one spotlight episode on him actually did kind of make me like him. Boom has lied to his parents and pretends he's accomplished, that he's the first ever Orange Ranger. Woo, Boom, best Ranger. Yeah, he's the Orange Ranger. Boom is a fun comedic character, but yeah, it wouldn't have been fun with him being an Orange Ranger. Boom was gonna be the Orange Ranger, and this was all a complete fake out. There is no Orange Ranger. Basically, Boom lied to his parents, and he basically gets into this liar revealed story where his stupid lie snowballs into even worse stuff. He shows up on the battlefield pretending he's the Orange Ranger to impress his parents, and it accidentally gets Jack and Sky captured by the monster of the week, and Boom basically has this very sad, heartfelt moment where he confesses that he's not a ranger, he's a loser. He failed in the academy like on the first 3 days. He got kicked out and rejected by everyone, and eventually landed a job being an assistant to Dr. Cat. However, over the course of the series, Boom slowly proves himself, proves that he's good, finds his talent, and finds out he is good at being a scientist. He does have an important job to him after all. He is vital to the Power Rangers because without him and Dr. Cat, they wouldn't have their kick-ass arsenal and Megazord weaponry to save the world. And I love Boom's speech in the finale. In the series finale, when everything's going to hell, the Rangers are held captive by Grum, all the SPD agents are going to run away and go into hiding because the evil Grum forces are going to conquer the planet. Boom gives this heartfelt speech that he knows things may seem hopeless, but he's gonna fight anyway. He's gonna save Doggy Kruger and his friends because it's the right thing to do, and he's done hiding, he's done being a coward, and he's going to go down fighting, and that really made him kick ass to me. That actually kind of redeemed Boom. He was a funny comic relief for half the series, then at the end, Boom basically grows a spine, becomes competent, and fully becomes a true SPD agent. Really liked him. He's going on A Squad. Didn't he have an in-space helmet in his dream sequence? Yeah, they recycled the in-space Ranger uniforms. That's the same for the A Squad. They're basically wearing the in-space helmets, but with the Psycho Ranger's lower armor. And I'm not sure, was it canon that Boom did eventually become a real Orange Ranger? I know there's a ton of fan art out there, and allegedly in the comics he did, but not in the show. He doesn't actually become a Ranger in the SPD show, but they did show his Orange Ranger uniform if you can't see. Would have been nice seeing that they got all the colors of the rainbow in there. Right? I think so. Yeah, while we're talking about in space, we should mention the A Squad. Okay, so these were an attempt to copy the Psycho Rangers. My only problem with them is they show up very late, and they are twist villains. But they are very good twist villains, so we'll put them on A Squad. Yeah, I'll put all 5 of them. I know Charlie's the only one who gets any character. There's pink, blue. Yeah, I'll put red up front because she got the most. Yeah, let's put the A Squad right where they belong on A Squad. These are the Psycho Rangers of SPD. They are not as good as the in-space Psycho Rangers, but hey, what is? Basically, the A Squad were the former heroes of SPD. These 5 were the elite hero soldiers, and in a cruel twist of fate, we find out they were dirty cops. They sold out to Emperor Grum. They were dispatched to assassinate the Emperor and prevent his invasion, only to totally 180 and join the dark side. They help Grum destroy the SPD Rangers. They return, pretend that they were held captive by Grum, only to infiltrate it and abduct Doggy Kruger, and basically take him to Emperor Grum themselves. Then they try to assassinate their replacements, the B Squad. I know there's an official Orange SPD Rangers. Yeah, Boom might have been the official Orange Ranger then. Okay, Anubis is a cool dog hero than Miss Hound. Okay, the A Squad I actually did kind of like in concept, though I agree with Linkara's review that they were kind of underutilized and would have been more interesting as the main villains of the show, that these guys should have been Emperor Grum's right-hand men, and actually the arch enemies, just like the Psycho Rangers were for the Space Rangers. The A Squad, basically, they're the evil Rangers. They're better than them in every way until the new Rangers finally prove their worth, finally prove that they are true SPD heroes, where they fight and kick A Squad's ass. A Squad has a dark Megazord, nearly succeed at destroying the Rangers. However, the Rangers snap back, they fight with their heroes, and outsmart them. They finally defeat the A Squad. Charlie, the Red Ranger, is the first female Red we've ever had. So yeah, there's that. She's the first female Red we've ever had, so pretty impressive mark in Ranger history. I know we got other female Red Rangers later, but Charlie was an interesting character, and she's the only one who really gets more depth compared to her squad mates. The squad mates tragically only get one note, kind of evil, dirty cop persona. Charlie at least had a lot more villain monologues, a lot more leadership. She was more effective. I agree with Linkara for having A Squad Evil was the best move, mainly to have this B Squad's ultimate test, and honestly, would have been a better dedicated full episode of B Squad fighting them. Yeah, they should have had their own episode like the Psycho Rangers did, however, they were kind of saved for the finale as twist villains. We believe that they were saved from Emperor Grum, but nope, they're actually working for him, and they fight the B Squad Rangers, only to get put in their place and finally taken down in their final Megazord fight. Like his cat or Anubis there, his name's Doggy Kruger. Yeah, I fully agree. So, A Squad, don't make it to S tier. The Psycho Rangers are S tier. They're much better. These ones, definitely interesting characters, but I kind of wish they had more, which is why they're going on to A Squad. Charlie was easily the best one, so she's up front because she had the most lines. So yeah, A Squad going on there, ironically, A Squad. Alright, Akira, you want to talk? Let's talk Doggy Kruger. I believe I speak for everyone when I say Doggy is the best character in the series, going on Savior of the Universe. Doggy Kruger is the Optimus Prime of Power Rangers. This guy is the leader, the head of the SPD unit, and Doggy is easily the greatest character in this show. Kruger is our 6th Ranger, at least our first one. He's the 6th Ranger. Doggy used to be a great SPD agent until Emperor Grum destroyed his planet, took his wife hostage, and Doggy kind of became a bitter military leader, sort of like Optimus Prime. He's an old soldier, he's a veteran, he kicks ass, however he's commanding on the sidelines and having the Rangers do a lot of the work until Doggy gets his mojo back. Oh yes, I love Anubis Doggy Kruger. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, I fully agree. Yeah, glad you guys like it. I agree, Doggy's S tier. A cat praising a dog? Yep, he's that good. Like A Squad betrayed B Squad feels like Amoya, My Hero Academia. Never watched it. Okay, one last one. The previous statement of Furio being too overpowered actually holds merit because the series Furio is from Genji Sentai Mega Rangers. He was overpowered and soloed all the Power Rangers. Okay, that makes sense. I love the design of the Shadow Ranger so much. Yep, he's the SPD Shadow Ranger. Basically this cool dog-style kind of ranger. He has all black, he's called a Shadow Ranger, and he has a kick-ass samurai sword with a dog handlebar. The Shadow Ranger is so cool. Like, the Japanese version is more furry than the American version. Yeah, they gave him a lot more fur. Doggy's face is a bit more plastic, but yeah. So, Doggy Kruger, this guy should have been the real main character because he is easily the best ranger on the squad. Doggy is basically Optimus Prime, dead serious soldier, doesn't socialize much, but he's a father to his men, he cares for them. All the rangers seek his approval. Doggy, at first, is kind of cynical and jaded, a hard-ass drill sergeant, but he slowly respects the rangers. He realizes that the B Squad are better than the A Squad ever were. Doggy is basically an old-fashioned general general for the first half. Then when he gets his morpher back, he becomes the Shadow Ranger, the quote-unquote 6th Ranger of the team. And yeah, he's pretty kick-ass. He has a fight with a samurai monster. He fights Emperor Grum twice in the series. He kicks so much ass. Love the Shadow Ranger. He actually bests the Red Ranger Jack. He's that OP. And Doggy gets a lot of great character development. Basically, getting his hope back, becoming a hero, proving himself, becoming the leader SPD needs even in their darkest hours. And yeah, who doesn't like this dog? He's a great character. He's funny at times. He kicks ass. The Shadow Ranger is one of the best 6 Rangers ever. And he's the one who actually has a deep backstory because he's Grum's true rival. So, the Black Ranger. Sort of. He's the Shadow Ranger, but yeah, he kind of wears black, blue, and silver. It would have been heresy if he was any lower. Yeah, it would have. Actually, now that we're talking about the Shadow Ranger, we should rank General Benaj, since that was his first fight as the Ranger and was the first villain for him. Okay, trying to find out where he is. Yeah, sorry, some of these shots are just so small or far away, I can't always fully see him. Also, Sajin Konoru versus Doggy Kruger is the fight for him, since a werewolf versus dog Power Ranger. I would have think Star Wolf versus Kruger, that would have been cooler. The only time where the low budget is actually works, because I would not want to have a Fury meme as the Shadow Ranger. Hey, Fury is a fan favorite. Yeah, Doggy is a fan favorite among the furry community. I mean, can you blame him? He's this big, strapping military guy who has a dog has a dog face. Personally, I prefer Dr. Cat. So yeah, in the finale, Doggy is more or less the main hero. Doggy gets his character arc fulfilled. He finds out his wife is alive. He at first has a rift between him and the Rangers. He's undergoing some trauma from losing his beloved and having the A Squad come back. He kind of shows a lot more favoritism towards the A Squad until they turn out to be evil and take him hostage. The Rangers and Kruger eventually escape thanks to some help from Piggy, and Doggy is the one who has the final showdown with Emperor Grum. They're kind of arch enemies because Doggy destroyed part of his horn. He has like a severed horn appearance in their battle, and Grum wants revenge, and Grum and Doggy finally share their last stand. Doggy saves his wife, destroys his death machine, kills his master Omni, and has one last man-to-man fight with Grum, where he destroys the other half of his horn here, making Grum emasculated. Now they match. Yeah. Nova being there is just so comical to me because I'm pretty sure she only in the show for like 3 seconds. Yeah, she was. Coincidence. Yeah, now they match. Doggy's the one who beats Grum and finally arrests him, so yeah, he's going on S tier, and he's still kicking ass all the way to his heyday. Doggy Kruger, he is easily the best character on the show, so of course he makes S tier. But you know who doesn't? Sam, the Omega Ranger, and yeah, this one's gonna piss some people off, or maybe actually impress some people. Sam's going on to Guilty. Easily one of the worst Rangers in this series. Sam, if you don't know, very hated among the Ranger community. For one big reason, he is completely underutilized and lacks so much depth. This is the Omega Ranger. He's a Power Ranger from the future. Sam was actually the little boy Z helped control his mutant powers and form a friendship. Z actually recruited Sam in a 2-parter where he was a kid and convinces him to join SPD. Sam goes off to SPD school, I guess, to learn his powers and returns from the future as his adult self, now a full-fledged Power Ranger. Sam has no character development, he's just a ball of light. Moving on. Now they match. Sam has a powerful weapon. Yeah, Sam has mutant powers. You want Cat next? Sam was so horribly wasted. Oh my god. So, Sam is just as hated as Justin and Troy. That is how much people hate this character. The problem is, Sam doesn't do much. This guy has all the pieces to be a great character. He's from the future. He has ultimate power. He has technology that doesn't exist yet. He has knowledge of the future. He knows the SPD Rangers are going to die one day. And they don't do anything with it. They don't do anything with this guy. That is why he sucks. He transforms into a Na'vi light for half his tenure, and we only see his true appearance here for like 3 seconds. So, one thing that did kind of piss me off more is that it's very clear this guy's trying to be like Zane the Silver Ranger. He talks exactly like him, and he has a very similar outfit. Sam, his character very much tried to be the Silver Ranger Zane, and to say he failed epically is a huge understatement. Sam did not have any character. He has no character development, he barely does anything, barely gets explored, and basically he's only here to be a funny comic relief character and use that Sentai footage because he's there. The show completely wastes him. He doesn't do much. He doesn't even appear outside of his ball of light form, and when we do see him, it's 3 seconds, then he returns home to his time. He is a complete footnote on this show, and only exists because his outfit was cool and he sold toys. I liked Justin. Moonwing, you liked Justin. Please tell me you don't like Troy, too. Sam was wasted so horribly. Oh my god. Yeah, easily the worst character on the show. Like is the Nova Ranger here. Yeah, she's here too, and we'll put her next to Sam. She's going on to Guilty. Yeah, I'll put the stupid Omni form up higher. This is Nova. She appears in one episode, basically a Silver Ranger with big boobs. She shows up, basically she was hunting Sam, getting back to his timeline. She's an 11th hour Ranger. She shows up in the last episode and basically fights a bunch of generic Crybots in the takeover of the Earth. And she appears out of her uniform for 3 seconds too, along with Sam, before they go back forever. Nova Ranger, wasted character, basically just confirms that, yeah, Power Rangers exist in the future, which we already know because of Time Force. The ball of light was low-key stupid. Yeah, they tried to hide Sam's appearance, like build up what he looks like, and in the end you only see it in a blink and you miss it moment, so that only pissed off people even more. Troy sucks. Yeah, he sucks. Big melons like Lukua for the Dragon Maid. Not saying Justin was a good ranger, but he wasn't a complete liability. Yeah, Justin got better in the end of Turbo, but Turbo is still a painful show to sit through. What's worse is Sam's young present-day character with Z is in a 2-parter episode, was kinda interesting, and yet they did nothing. No bonding with Z, with his future self, no character, nothing. Yeah, the Omega Ranger is a nothing character, and that's why he's on Guilty. Same with Nova, she's kinda just a fun character who shows up in the last episode, but nothing either. I wonder how much her actress got paid for her appearance. Yeah, she like appears for 3 seconds out of the uniform. She's pretty though, so she gets 1 point above Sam. Alright, still trying to memorize some of these characters. The Aqua girl who posed as a hot chick. We'll put her on B. Yeah, if you don't know, she was in that episode where Bridge is flirting with a hot girl, but it turns out she's being hunted by a bounty hunter because she's actually a monster criminal who robbed the banks. Had a really cool fight with Bridge and finally proved that he was useful at something. We'll put her on B Squad because I like water powers. This looks like Moira's action outfit, but I'm not sure who this monster is. I don't recognize it. We'll put on B Squad to be safe. One of Broodwing's generic military generals, putting you on Piggy Bootleg. The Master. Another martial arts character. You'll put you on B Squad, too. Trying to see if the samurai guy was on here, too. I think this is him, but I could be wrong. Yeah, that was Morgana's fighter outfit. Oh, that is? Okay. kind of weird because we see Morgana and Moira on here twice. Alright, I'll put her on S tier. So I think this should be the right opportunity to talk about Moira slash Morgana. Moira will put onto Savior of the Universe. Yeah, I know the irony. Moira is actually a pretty funny character. This is a creepy little girl who lives with Grum. I thought she was Grum's daughter because that's kind of the relationship they have. Moira is basically the creator of the monsters. Moira is an evil, psychotic child who draws monsters to life with her magic art book. She creates all the monsters of the week and dispatches them for Grum. And yeah, the little girl kind of funny. She has these hilarious interactions with Grum. Basically acts like a bratty little child. The only problem I have is that she's punk killed in the finale. Speaking of which, we also get to her most noteworthy character twist. Moira is not really a little girl. She's really Morgana, a 40-year-old woman who can transform into a little girl. It is very weird and creepy, but this is Moira's true form. She's actually an adult middle-aged woman who pretends to be a little girl. Basically, they kind of do the Marilyn Munster thing where all the monsters treat her like she's hideously ugly when she's a hot chick. But no, she's actually the most normal looking person among Grum's empire. They treat her like she's the ugly one, so she became a little girl basically, I guess to make herself more adorable because she hates getting older. It's not at all explored. I did wish we got to know why Moira prefers being a kid, but maybe that's symbolism that sucks being a grown-up, lol. Yeah, I think that was kind of the thing. She didn't like growing up. Ew, you made the Zane comparison. Frickin' Astronema fell for him. Yeah, no one fell for Omega. I wonder how much her actress got paid. Ew, yeah. This is Morgana, her true form. Morgana's a 40-year-old woman who pretends to be a child. I guess she hates growing up, but she's still kind of a human-looking girl. They do the Marilyn Munster thing, where how Marilyn is kind of the hot chick among her family, but they all treat her like she's the monster, she's the ugly one. That's kind of what they do with Morgana. They treat her like she's hideous, even though she's a normal, pretty human woman living with basically Grum and his monsters and robots. She's kind of the most normal person, but she likes being a little girl, and kind of a creepy twist. She's basically an adult woman child pretending to be a little girl, which makes a lot of scenes she shares with Grum and Broodwing a lot more awkward. She has like stuffed animals and tea parties and sits on Grum's lap, which, yeah, make of that what you will. Basically, she's an adult woman, and as Morgana, she's actually badass. I believe they didn't want the Rangers punching a little girl, so they had this twist where she became an adult so Morgana could actually fight. This is her fighter uniform, which I actually thought was pretty cool. Her edgy Batgirl type of uniform. Also, I did like that Morgana and Z had a rivalry ever since that present-day Sam two-parter. Yeah, Morgana basically is Z's archenemy. She hated her as a little girl because she ruined her friendship and slash corruption with Sam. Then when she became an adult because of her failure to kill the Yellow Ranger, she considers Z her arch nemesis, fighting her, get into sexy cat fights, pinning her to a tree and groping her, all that. Are you saying no one could fall for a floating ball of light? Maybe Link could. Like she loves drawing monsters to live. So much better than Lila Rossi. Yeah, she is. I found both Moira and Morgana very hilarious. The little girl having bitch fights with Grum, very hilarious. The child actress is pretty good. Morgana, her sexy femme fatale half, kind of creepy because she acts like she's still a little girl, and they kind of do what the Gotham did with Poison Ivy. Like, you know how Poison Ivy was actually a little girl, and in Gotham she was aged up against her will into an adult and still has the mind and personality of a child in there. Yeah, that kind of gave the ewy feeling for Morgana. She's supposed to be like a sexy femme fatale character, and I do agree the actress is pretty, but the woman-child behavior, and the fact that she wants to be a little girl sitting on Grum's lap, kind of sus. Grum, go to your room, Moira. But this is my room. Then go to my room. But go! I love the part where she's laughing at Grum because they got duped. She tried to make Z into a doll. Grum tried to take the Z doll, but it turned out to be a clone who disappeared. And Moira laughs at Grum for being a fool, and he scares the hell out of her into running away. Then it feels really weird. Morgana, if used properly, could have been a lead villain. Remember, we've seen capable Power Ranger female villainesses already. Yeah, we had Trakina, who is one of the greatest female villainesses, and future tier list Astronema. Not trying to spoil it, but Astronema might make it very high because she is a kick-ass villain. But Moira had potential. My problem with her, though, is how the finale writes her out. Basically, Doggy Kruger invades Grum's ship, and Moira is basically punk-killed. Doggy just kills all her monsters and traps her in one of the playing cards. Yeah, the monsters do not die in this. The monsters are kind of captured Time Force style. They take the monsters and villains in alive, but trap them into playing cards. Really miss the action figures kind of trap, but yeah. Doggy Kruger basically just shoots Moira and traps her in a card, and that's the end of her. Really a huge letdown, which is why she's not on higher. I wish this villain would have been awesome. She is really funny, really entertaining. She's hot in her adult form, kick-ass in her suit form, funny as this grouchy, bratty child interacting with Grum. Their interactions are easily the most entertaining. However, they kind of stop when she's aged up and she becomes a little girl again, only to basically get shot dead. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! That or Magic the Gathering. Like, I hope Josephine Davidson be like a cool role for Poison Ivy and James Gunn, or the Batman. She might be a bit too old now. Anyways, Morgana, Moira, definitely interesting villains. I kind of wish she was the main villain over Grum because she had a lot more personality to her. But yeah, she falls short of being a Trakina, but was one of the most entertaining characters on the show. Speaking of which, let's get our last main villain out of the way, Broodwing. Broodwing, actually going on A. Yeah, I liked him more than Emperor Grum. This is Broodwing in his true form. Broodwing is the other general. Grum only has a few commanders compared to other villains. He has Moira/Morgana, and he has Broodwing, and later Piggy, but I don't think we really count Piggy. Broodwing is basically the other elite general. This guy is our Starscream of the show. He's the treacherous second-in-command, conspiring against his Emperor Grum. So, really like his design. He's basically a man-bat with a weird space helmet over him, and a really cool voice. Broodwing is basically the tech guy for the villains. He constructed the cryobots, he constructs the robot minions, he builds all the death machines for Grum's schemes, he basically offers all the arms for Grum's empire. However, halfway through the show, out of complete random, admittedly, Broodwing decides he's done taking Grum's crap. He returns destroying his robots. He costed him so much in this war with the Power Rangers, and they are no close to winning, so Broodwing decides to strike it out on his own and becomes our Starscream of the show. I wish Miraculous should have used to capture Queen Wasp or Hawkmoth, but no. Also, he's played by Jim McLarty. Okay. So, Broodwing, I actually did grow to like him. Now, he's definitely not Deviant or Frax, who are much better Starscreams. He doesn't have the deep, interesting backstory of Frax, and he doesn't have the charm and badassery of Deviant. Broodwing very much hid in the shadows. He was working behind the scenes in most of his scenes. He's basically conspiring against Grum. Grum figures it out in like the last 8 episodes and stupidly dispatches Crybots to assassinate him, but Broodwing turns out to be a total badass. Broodwing, I like that he's more of an arms dealer, though isn't afraid of sometimes to getting his hands dirty. Plus, he does end up betraying Grum because he loses so much money for nothing. B played Bird Brain and Dino Thunder. Oh, okay. I have to hear him again, then. Okay, so Broodwing, basically he's an arms dealer. He's selling weapons and henchmen to Grum. He builds his armada for him. He eventually gets pissed off because it's costing him so much. He's sacrificing all his tech, and Broodwing has not profited off their war with the Rangers, so he decides to get his hands dirty and kill the Rangers and Grum himself. And he gets very badass in the final few episodes. He does have other scientists on his payroll help him. He's conspiring in the shadows for at least half the series, then in the finale finally steps up his game. He actually successfully launches an assault on the SPD command center and takes over the Megazord, which ultra badass. Looking back, we had a good stretch of Yellow Rangers from Ashley to Z. Yeah, really good Rangers. Loved Ashley from In Space, not so much in Turbo. Loved Maya, she's my Ranger crush. Loved Kelsey, she was funny, I defend her. Loved Katie, she was hot and kick-ass. Loved Kira, Kira's an S-tier Yellow Ranger. Not a huge fan of Taylor, I thought she was alright. And, yeah, Z was pretty awesome too. I think Dustin, as the first male Yellow, was also alright. He was one of the more likable characters. Also, he's a vampire bat alien, but how he survived the sun, since that has weakened him. I guess his alien stuff, like his helmet, prevented him from dying to that. Also, he's the announcer in Jungle Fury. Oh, good for him. He also served as the ADR supervisor for Ninja Steel, Super Ninja Steel, and Beast Morphers. Ah, so downgraded, huh? So, I did grow to like Broodwing. He's no Deviant or Frax, but as the Starscream villains go, he actually kicked ass in the finale. I thought he was the better final boss than the A-Squad and Grum. Basically, Broodwing hijacks the Megazord. They have a huge epic Megazord three-way fight with SPD versus the corrupt A-Squad versus Broodwing in the hijacked Ultra Omega Megazord. Broodwing gets defeated, has his final fight with Jack, and at last gets arrested and thrown in the slammer for good. Once again, I'd like to remind people that Broodwing and Morgana / Mora were far more interesting villains than Grum ever was. Grum was an okay villain, but Broodwing had a lot more ambition and actually kicked ass better in the finale because he was a genuine threat. So we'll put him on A-Squad. Again, Deviant and Frax, better Starscreams, but Broodwing was alright. And it doesn't help that Zeltrax was also a better Starscream in the end. So I wish Kira's actress played Black Canary. She kinda did. We need a Megazord tier list. Maybe someday. I'm trying to remember who this guy was. He looks familiar. I'll put him on B Squad because he looks pretty cool design-wise. I remember this evil machine guy. We'll put him on Piggy Bootleg. He had cool powers, but that was about it. Don't remember who this guy is. We'll put him on Piggy Bootleg. Trying to find that general guy people mention. But some of these... I remember where the electric guy was. I really liked him. Okay, I think this is him, the weird power grid guy. I liked his design. We'll put him under the mocap dude and science guy. This guy like showed up for like 5 seconds and died. We'll put him on guilty. Okay, was this the samurai guy that Doggy fought? If it was him, we might boost him up on an A tier. If this is the guy who I'm thinking of, the evil samurai warrior who was in the academy with Doggy, we'll put him on A Squad because I really liked his story. This guy was allegedly the one who abducted Doggy's wife and used his wife's memory against him. This former samurai warrior who fought dirty. He was Doggy's rival in the academy, then eventually turned to the dark side and hired his services to Emperor Grum, where Doggy gets a great story confronting his past rival. He tried to trick Doggy by using his trauma of losing his wife against him. He reveals that his wife is still alive and is being held by Grum. Doggy finally strikes him, but not out of anger, and locks him away forever. General Benag. Katana is his name. Okay, Katana, okay. Alright, put Katana on A squad. Evil Mantis guy. We'll put you onto Piggy Bootleg. Sorry guys, got a lot of one-shot villains, many who didn't lay a huge impression. Giant Robot, also going on Piggy Bootleg. Evil Giant Robot with no personality, also going on to Bootleg. Trying to see where the general guy is. I think this might be him, but it's like cut off. I believe Vanag was the green alien general with the cyber-like face and black pants. Okay, oh, this might be him, then. General Banag, the first Shadow Ranger villain. Yeah, we'll put him on A squad. We'll put him above Charlie, but after Mirlock. This is the evil general and the first villain that Doggy Kruger fought as the Shadow Ranger. He's in the two-parter where Doggy basically gets his groove back. This guy, I think this is him. He had the green face and the claws and the weird black cloak down low. Yeah, this guy, pretty awesome design, very threatening. He actually takes Dr. Cat hostage, and Kruger finally faces him and re-unlocks his Ranger power. Really kick-ass villain, not gonna lie. I like the voice. Almost didn't recognize him because they got a far-away shot of him, but yeah. This guy, honestly a pretty good starter villain for the Shadow Ranger, and showed you how badass Doggy was because he finally bests a guy he never beat before. Is Hydrax there? I think we already put her up. I think this is her right here, underneath Charlie. Alright, let's just dump some monsters of the week. I think this guy is like the samurai dude. I remember Jack fought this honorable samurai guy. If it's him, I'll put him onto A squad. Oh no, yeah, it looks like him. This is like the samurai guy that was summoned out of feudal Japan, the Ninja Storm era, to fight Jack. And Jack fights him, and he's like the first innocent monster ever. He's like literally a guardian protecting his temple. Fighting in SPD's times Japan, he and Jack have an honorable samurai duel, and Jack realizes that he's not evil. I kind of wish this aspect was explored, that not all of the monsters are guilty. Jack sees the error of his ways and proves that he is a worthy opponent, and finds out that he won with a generic sword. Doggy pretended to lend him the Shadow Ranger sword, and it actually wasn't the Shadow Ranger sword, yet he still won in the end. Ikitor is the red alien with the sword. Okay. Alright, thank you. Generic monster guy, put you on Piggy Bootleg. Don't even remember this guy. We'll put him on Piggy Bootleg. Red monster with the sword. Is this who you're talking about, Akira Ichidor? One of Broodwing's generic generals who, like, this is the Easter Bunny guy who showed up in the Dino Thunder crossover. Yeah, we'll put him on the Bootleg. Yeah, they got like a handful of monsters in the Dino Thunder crossover, sorry. Basically just a bunch of generic jobbers who get murdered by the Dino Thunder squad in their badass team up in SPD. Yeah, these guys did nothing except die. They had even no character. I'm trying to recognize this guy. Sorry, a lot of one-shot villains. We'll put him up on B squad. Is T-Top there? Yeah, but isn't he like, I think this is him. Either this is him. I don't recognize this black guy either. Yeah, sorry, running low on characters I remember. A bunch of one-shot characters. Screw it. I'll put this guy up on B squad because he's got a nice design. I think this is T-Top. He was a cool character. If it's not him, I apologize. I think this is the bounty hunter who was framed as a bank robber, but really, it was this monster Hydrax posing as a hot chick. She pretended to be human while he kind of took the fall. He was a badass character, and unfortunately, he only shows up 2 times in the show and barely did anything. If this is T-Top, he's going on to B. Evil robot guy going on to Piggy Bootleg. Evil giant guy, putting him on a Piggy Bootleg. I'm wondering where Rhinox is. I don't see him on here. This might be... No, I think this is him. Ah, nobody messes with the Rhinox. Yeah, I'll put him on A. Basically, the Power Rangers version of the Rhino from Spider-Man. Yeah, Rhinox had a really cool design. It's very hard to tell, but that is his horn. Rhinox, basically the Rhino in Power Rangers, had a cool fight, came back when the mocap robot used him for a design. I liked his design, so we'll put him on A Squad. Evil Giant Robot, going on a Piggy bootleg. I'm trying to recognize who this Red Skull guy is. He looks kind of familiar. Giant Robot, put you on to Piggy bootleg. Giant Robot, going on to Piggy bootleg. Where's that cool electric guy? I kind of liked him. Don't see him on here, though. Alright, weird Falcon-looking guy. We'll put you on B Squad. Liked his design. Again, these are mostly one-shots. They were all mindless jobbers. Going on one-shot. Going on to one-shot. This guy, the sniper guy, yeah, I'll put him on to A Squad. Really liked him in Sky's rivalry. This magician guy going on to Piggy bootleg. Giant Robot going on to Piggy bootleg. General Valko is the Red Skull guy. Okay, that is General Valko. Okay, we'll put you high up on B Squad. General Valko, really kick-ass villain. Liked his fight scene. I almost recognize this guy. I'll put him on B Squad if he's who I think he is. Another kick-ass minion. This almost looks like the samurai guy who fought Kruger. Another elite general. We'll put you on to B Squad. I don't remember him. I think he showed up in one of the crossover events. Kick-ass sword guy. Put you on to the end of A Squad. I think this also might be the samurai rival Kruger fought, but it's very hard to tell. Is Change Tor. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I don't remember the one-shot characters too well. Well, we're almost done with them. Alright, let's talk about Piggy. Oh, Piggy. Going on to A Squad because he's also pretty hilarious. Yes, surprisingly, Piggy actually got a lot of focus. Basically, he's the rat. He's Rat Trap for the Power Rangers. He's the guy who knows stuff. The guy with inside details. Piggy starts out as a frenemy to kind of both the Rangers and Emperor Grum. Piggy is basically this lowly, disgusting alien creature who likes gross things, disgusting things. He likes the dump, he likes the junkyard, and nice things kind of gross him out. Like nice things, friendly things, a polar opposite type of alien. Laser is the one in the red with the long M. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Akira. I don't recognize most of these. They showed up for like one episode and died. That's all I know about them. Anyways, Piggy, actually pretty funny. I really liked him. He's the lowly guy. He knows a thing or two. He's actually serving both Emperor Grum and SPD. Basically, Piggy is on Grum's payroll. He was an agent for him. He lives in a dump. He tries to host this restaurant for monsters and mutants who like disgusting things like he does. And the Rangers kind of ruin that every time they show up. The Power Rangers basically use Piggy as their inside guy. They have an odd friendship formed with him over the course of the series. Z treats him like a friend. Like, Z knows Piggy because apparently he helped her way back. Piggy doesn't get much character development until the finale. In the end, Piggy is kind of playing both sides, playing the Rangers, playing Grum, even playing Broodwing, trying to stay alive, giving out intel, proving that he's worthwhile, but then Grum demands that he give him the Power Rangers. Piggy sells out the Rangers and leads them into a trap where Grum captures the last SPD Rangers. SPD is completely betrayed by him, however Piggy has a heel face turn. Barney Duncan played Piggy. Also, Piggy came in Mystic Force and is a friend to the Cat Genie. Oh, that's cool. Wait, isn't Mystic Force like supposed to be in modern day and SPD is in the future? So, Piggy basically has a change of heart. He realizes that he did a bad thing to the Rangers, and absolutely loved this joke where he prays to God to give him a sign that what he did was right or wrong, and God lightnings his RV. His mobile home is hit by lightning and destroyed, and it makes Piggy finally snap back and realize that, yeah, he was a dick who deserved it. Yeah, no joke, God destroys Piggy's RV when he prays for a sign, and that's kind of his comeuppance. Piggy realizes he was wrong, and he finally proves himself. He sneaks into Grum's base, pretending to be a crybot, and he saves the SPD Rangers from execution. Piggy apologizes and makes amends, and the SPD finally gets their chance to defeat Grum. So yeah, I did like him. Yeah, I love that moment. Yeah, God actually strikes his mobile home down just to show what an ass he is. The Power Rangers lore is weird in timeline. Yeah. The poor RV. Admittedly, it was a really funny joke. Piggy does have a lot of hilarious moments. He's kind of like Boom, but for the bad guys. He's the goofball comic relief villain, and love that God destroyed his mobile home in the finale. Basically, a comeuppance for all his dickishness. Piggy has a change of heart, apologizes, and becomes a good guy at the end, helping the Rangers defeat the invasion. Not on the war front, mind you. He is a comedic coward. I think they tried to do like a Jar Jar Binks type of thing where he's dodging cryobots and accidentally getting wins, but yeah. Like Piggy is better than Argos. Yeah, by a country mile. So we'll put Piggy on A. He was funny and he actually got a comeuppance for everything. And he did have a nice redemption arc. Personally, we got better redeemed villains in Power Rangers, but he's alright. We'll put him on A squad. Alright, gonna use my restroom break, but we're on the final three. Cast your vote. Remind me who this guy is in case you know who he is if he's a big deal. Alright, be right back. Cast your vote on who you want next. Final three. Alright, I'm back. Who do you guys want next? So he is bulk but a monster. Yeah, kind of. I would describe Piggy as kind of the villainous bulk and skull type of character. He's kind of this goofball, but he's on the side of evil. Until the end, that is. People want Cat. Poor RV. Okay, I want to end on a high note, though. That's kind of why I've been holding off on her. Okay, so I don't recognize who this guy is. It's not a very good image. I think they kind of cut off his head, too. Alright, let's talk about Green Ranger Bridge. Gonna upset a lot of people. Bridge is going on Piggy bootleg. This is not one of my favorite Green Rangers. Bridge is basically the weirdo. He's eccentric, he's wacky, he's kind of the goofball. He's the comic relief ranger, and You either find him really funny or really annoying, and unfortunately, I found him annoying. I did not laugh once at this guy. Basically, he like stands on his head, he does weird things, he always moves his fingers when he says buttery, he has these character tics. I believe they were trying to imply he had like OCD or was autistic or something, but honestly, it did not really work. Bridge is not one of my favorite Green Rangers. Alright, we can save her for last. Yeah, Cat is going to be our high note. Yeah, I really love Cat, but Bridge, not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of him. Bridge is basically the weirdo. He's the annoying comic relief character. He has his moments. Basically, we find out he does have skills. He is a good detective. His OCD / psychic powers help him. Oh yeah, Bridge is a psychic who barely uses his psychic abilities to solve crimes. Yeah, doesn't that make sense? I don't like him. He and Sid are honestly my least favorite Rangers on this show. Possibly this entire franchise if Megaforce didn't exist. But didn't really care for him. Bridge, his episodes were a lot more goofier, a lot more comical. Basically, he proves that he does have talent. Bridge proves that he's not useless, he's not a fool, his eccentric demeanor actually helps him at times. It helps him solve mysteries, helps him survive, and helps prove that he is a good ranger, which is kind of nice at times. I know what they're trying to teach kids, that your quirks are what make you you, that you do have skills at something, you can do whatever you put your mind to, and through Bridge they kind of do that. Kind of giving kids more confidence that, oh, you're not weird, you have skills to call your own, but honestly, I didn't really like the character as a person. He's just very weird and out there. Wasn't he the Red Ranger in another crossover show? No, Bridge actually gets promoted to Blue Ranger. Sky was the one who got his promotion to Red, and he promotes Bridge to Blue, which totally undeserved. I think Z or Sid should have been the Blue Ranger, but no, it's Bridge because they're roomies. Matt Austin played Bridge. Yeah, I heard. He also had like tattoos on his hands, which is why he always wore gloves. Wasn't he the... No, he wasn't. Bridge becomes the Red Ranger. Oh, he does? Okay, I will admit I have not watched Power Rangers beyond SPD, so I do not know that. He does become a red? Okay, I know he becomes a blue in the finale, but totally undeserved. It should have been Z or Sid. They were much better and more likable than him. Easily my least favorite Ranger among the core 5 because I found his wackiness more annoying and obnoxious than actually funny, and his episodes honestly not all that great. The Hydrax one is easily his best one because he proves that he was a good detective, but Bridge also doesn't get much character development. He's kind of the comic relief who wises up, and that's about it. Operation Overdrive, that's what I was thinking of. I think his actor have ADD because he has a brain tumor. Okay, that's kind of sad. I hope he's alright. Just thought I'd stop by just for this one moment. Hey, just some random guy. In Operation Overdrive, once a Ranger, he was the Red SPD Ranger for some reason, but that's the least of the series and the crossovers problems. Yeah, we did not get any good crossovers after Forever Red. The Ninja Storm one with Dino Thunder was actually alright, but... yeah, I'm talking about 10 out of 10 golden crossovers. The Forever Red one was still the best, last good one. Anyways, Bridge. He was a bridge too far, going on Piggy Bootleg. Okay, so Kira, if you can recognize this guy, please tell me. I'll put him on the B Squad. It seems like he's a big deal character. Evil, weird, crab-looking guy. Looks like the monster from How to Kill a Monster, but with cybernetic upgrades. But let's end on a high note with Dr. Cat. Finally got my dream of a sexy Catwoman Power Ranger. Dr. Cat going on to Savior of the Universe behind Doggy Kruger. He is the EMS technician in Dawn of the Dead. Okay. Yeah. Crabface. Oh, that's his name. Okay, we'll put him on B Squad. He looks like he's a big deal. But yeah. Alright, let's end on a high note. Dr. Cat, the Cat Ranger. Yep, I love sexy cat women and I love Power Rangers, so naturally I love them put together. Love Dr. Cat, she is hot, she is funny, she is the mother figure to the Power Rangers, and her 1 hour as a Cat Ranger was kick-ass and the highlight of SPD. Ending a tier list with a sexy Catwoman. Yeah, how fitting. Yeah, Cat. Yeah, I knew you guys would make fun of me for this, but can you blame me? Look at her. Got a sexy cat girl. Her actress is so pretty, not gonna lie. She is hot. She's a scientist. She's caring. Basically, if Miss Fairweather was a full-on Power Ranger, she becomes the Cat Girl Ranger, and honestly, the biggest crime of the show is not making it permanent. She gets a cat girl suit for like 1 hour, and that's it. Yeah, Michelle Langstone is her actress. Very pretty. She also did a lot of great movies, too. But yeah, Dr. Cat, I absolutely love her. Not only is she a sexy Catwoman, but she's also one of the best characters. I strongly believe Dr. Cat and Doggy Kruger should have been the real main characters of this show. Yeah, I know they're older and not relatable to the kids, but would have been nice seeing them because they get the most great character arcs and the greatest character moments. Dr. Cat is basically their Miss Fairweather. She's the scientist who creates all the kick-ass Power Rangers arsenal, all the tech, all the gadgets, launching the Megazords, everything. She does all the tech jobs at SPD, and she's more or less Doggy's right-hand woman because she's the one always interacting with him and keeping him back in the light side, basically. I'm not making fun of you, it's true. Yeah, I know, Mass Mailer. Cat is pretty hot. You can't tell, but she has cat ears up here, and I believe she does have, like, weird facial markings on the side of her face. You can't see them in this photo because they wanted to show you the Cat Girl Ranger. And, yeah, she has, like, fangs like a cat. It looks more vampirish. So, if you don't know, Cat eventually becomes the Cat Ranger. The SPD Rangers are in a fight with Broodwing and her archenemy Mooney, who launch a great evil plan against them which nearly destroys them. Cat needs to help dethrone Broodwing's plan, so she becomes the Cat Ranger, but it only lasts 1 hour. It should have been full time, but no. So, this is because in the Sentai footage, Dr. Cat's Sentai counterpart is not a cat. She's a swan. The suit was supposed to look like a swan. It has like feathers. Instead, they've shaped them into cat ears. Cat's counterpart is actually a swan woman scientist, and it's why we never got to see the Cat Ranger return, because all of her attacks are like feather and flight based. Cat's counterpart in the Sentai Japanese version is a swan alien, but the American show, or I should say the New Zealand show, made her a cat girl instead because cat girls are hot. I wish she could play Felicia on a future live-action Darkstalkers. Yeah, she'd be pretty cool. I think she might be a bit too old now, but yeah. Also, she is Xena. She's in Xena Warrior Princess as Lana. Ooh, gotta watch her for her again then. And she's Master Gwaine and Jungle Fury. Never saw Jungle Fury. Cat might have my favorite morph sequence. Yeah, she flips around acrobatically like a cat girl. Yeah, finally got sexy cat girls and Power Rangers, and yeah, she's definitely up there very high. Would have made my top list, but she was outclassed by other characters. So, personality-wise, Cat is the team mom. She's the moral compass. She's the emotional center. She's the caring, nurturing parent to Doggy's stern father figure. Cat basically helps the Rangers gain confidence in themselves, helps them shape up, tells them that she and Doggy always thought they would have made great Rangers, is the moral compass, and in the finale we get to see Cat actually have a fight scene. Cat and Boom are invaded by Broodwing's forces, and Cat actually has surprising ninja moves. She actually is a competent agent. Her one episode, Cat is almost reassigned to Commander Birdie's fortress. However, Cat likes working at SPD because they're practically her friends, and she got to do her more hands-on job approach. Also, her Japanese version, Swan Shiratori, is a Deca Swan. Yeah, they're like called Deca Rangers in that. Yeah, I'm sorry, not familiar with Japanese customs. I only watch the English Power Rangers. But yeah, Kat, she has like one focus episode, and it's one of the best episodes in the series, not just because of my crush on her, but because they actually made her a ranger. She becomes a kick-ass ranger. She proves that she is needed at SPD. She is their team mom. And in the finale, she kicks all kinds of ass. She is fighting on the front lines even without her ranger armor, stopping the Crybots from invading Earth. Spoilers, the Crybots invading Earth, not even half as cool as Astronema's invasion. Does Wolf know Japanese? Wolf knows some Japanese words. He does watch Japanese dubbed anime, but I wouldn't say he's like a master of the language. I'm so upset that she doesn't become a full ranger. You and me too, Mass Mailard. I really wish Kat became a ranger. Wolf watches some dubs, but a lot more subs, because Wolf wants a more accurate representation of the anime. So, really like Dr. Kat. She's fun, she's quirky, she's caring, and yes, the actress is pretty hot, with and without the ranger armor. And I did like the suit. It did look like a cat because of the ears. It's unfortunate that she never became a ranger full-time, but that's because this character was a different species in the Deca show. So, anyways, Dr. Kat, she's great, and I heard her actress actually hooked up with one of the other actors on the SPD team. I'm not sure. I thought it was like Boom or Bridge. Somebody, like, her actress actually hooked up with one of her SPD co-stars. For like a short time. I think they broke up now, but pretty sweet story actually, that they fell in love on a Power Ranger set. Kind of like how Damon and Amy Miller fell in love on Lost Galaxy. But anyways, yeah, Dr. Kat, she's pawsome. Love her, she kicks ass, she's smart, she's sexy, she's tough, she's brave, and she is a great mentor figure for the Rangers. She and Doggy Kruger absolutely should have been the real main characters, and she's going on S tier behind Doggy. Ooh, nice. Yep. But yeah, I know we sped through a lot, but that pretty much completes our tier list. We'll go over it one last time for any late birds watching. So, in Guilty, we have Sam the Omega Ranger. Sucks, one of the most underutilized Power Rangers ever, total flat character. Along with Nova, who showed up in the last episode and barely did anything outside of fight scenes. Omni, terrible villain, he cucked Emperor Grum, and he was basically given no personality but on generic monster. One of Moira's expendable drawings, yeah, he's on here, he got punk killed. Mooney, terrible character because he's a total wannabe. Dr. Kat's arch nemesis deserves to be here. And tragically, Zeltrax, he was done so dirty in the crossover, it's painful. Zeltrax, if this was a Dino Thunder tier list, he would be much higher, but on SPD, nope, they did him injustice. He is guilty. It is cool, like what the next in space. Okay, so, if you're wondering, our next Power Ranger tier list, most likely in space. I know some people might want Dino Thunder, but it depends on what I finish first. Wolf might actually join us for In Space. I actually convinced Wolf to watch the Power Rangers in Space season, because that was one of Wolf's favorites, precisely because of the Psycho Rangers, and I think Andros was once his favorite Red Ranger. Nova was such an odd addition. She served literally no purpose. Actually, Masked Mailard, she was there because of the Sentai footage. It is done, and what did Catwoman say about me, and did you talk to Starfire? Yeah, Starfire said she'd give you a chance if she was free. Alright, looking forward to those. Anyways, Piggy Bootleg. A lot of monsters of the week, but that's because they're one-shot characters. No depth, I don't remember most of them. And some of them, like Broodwing's generic generals, were punk killed. But unfortunately down here too is Bridge, who is easily my least favorite ranger on this team. A comic relief who I just didn't find funny, and Bridge's character development completely paled in comparison to literally everyone else's. Then, B Squad. More monsters of the week, but these ones had cool stories, cool designs. I did like the Trudians. I put my man Deviant on here because I love him, even when it's not actually him. How hilarious is it that Deviant has had his outfit recycled multiple times? Got General Valdka, whatever he is called. Got this cool monster Moira drew, a lot of one-shot characters. Mocap guy, he was pretty awesome actually. And Evil Science guy nearly succeeded with his death machine here. But we also have our Pink Ranger Sid. Sid is honestly the most mid. Sid is mid. She is not one of my favorite Pink Rangers. I didn't really care for her as much. Z was definitely the way better Girl Ranger, and I kind of wish Kat took over as the badass Girl Ranger, but nope, didn't happen. But Sid, didn't care for her. I'm sorry if you do. Yeah, I know she's hot, but didn't really like her all that much. It is done. So this is Dragon Ranger Akira signing off. Bye, Akira. Then A-Squad. Got some cool monsters. Mirrorlock is awesome. Drew, also a great one-shot character. The evil Shadow Ranger General boss fight character, he was awesome. A-Squad, underutilized, which is why they're not S tier, but pretty decent attempt to copy the Psycho Rangers. Got the Samurai Rival. Got the good ninja warrior who fought Jack. Got Rhinox because he's just the Rhino from Spider-Man. Got the evil samurai guys who fought the Shadow Ranger and revealed his wife was alive. But got the character that body swapped with Sky. He was actually pretty effective as a villain. But blue and orange Cryobots, better minions, way better than the generic Crybots. These guys should have been the main cannon fodder. Got Piggy. He's actually a pretty funny comic relief. I love that God struck down his RV, and I did think his redemption was cute, but far from the best redemption. Got Boom, the Orange Ranger. He was actually pretty funny. A nice replacement for Bulk and Skull because he was actually entertaining and relatable. Loved his dynamic with Dr. Cat. Got Rick, the cool dog. Yep, a cat actually praised a dog. Pretty cool Transformer weapon, not gonna lie. He and Sid had one of the sweeter episodes in the series. Got Broodwing up here, a kick-ass Starscream, but only problem was underutilized. He does fall short compared to Deviant and Frax, but I did feel entertained by him in the end. Emperor Grum could have been one of the best villains of the series, but he was just okay. Got a kick-ass fight scene with Doggy Kruger. His actor really poured his all into it. Got a really awesome design, but not too much in terms of iconic Power Ranger monster, so he's going on A-Squad. And tragically, Jack, our Red Ranger, he's good but not great. I almost loved him, loved the Games Master's acting, but unfortunately the finale kind of abruptly threw him away. I've literally forgotten everything about Sid. Yeah. She had like one episode with Rick the dog and mostly a lot of bitch fights with Z, but that was about it. Jack, almost an awesome Red Ranger. I did like him. I liked his actor. I liked him on Game Over. I liked him here. However, the finale awkwardly threw him away and abruptly wrapped up his character arc, which did feel out of nowhere and kind of a hastily done goodbye to him. Sorry, Jack, but you're only making it to A. But our S tiers, Morgana and Moira, pretty funny villains. She's hilarious as a little girl and very creepy, and very hilarious as an adult. They made her hotter when she got older, and really kick-ass. Loved her in that awesome Power Ranger design she built. She had like an edgelord battle uniform. Moira and Morgana, actually pretty underrated villains. I wish she was the main antagonist over Grum, because she had a lot more going on. But anyways, our Rangers who are in S tier, Sky. Greatest character development for a Blue Ranger ever. I actually grew to like him. He's the one dick character who became more likable as the series went on. Sky went from a total arrogant Vegeta jerk into a true badass soldier like Bumblebee. So Sky, he is definitely one of the great Blue Rangers. Z, underrated Yellow Ranger. Really like her. She's fun. She's compassionate. Basically everything a cop should be. Her two-parter with Sam is one of the more likable episodes where we actually look into her layers as a character. I will say Z is a good Yellow Ranger, so she's going on Savior of the Universe. I still can't believe he's the Games Master. That's so funny to me for some reason. Yeah, Jack is the Haunting Hour villain on Game Over. It's so hilarious seeing this guy come and attacking kids on an R.L. Stine show. Anyways, top two, Cat. Love her. Of course, I dig sexy Catwoman, so you know that was guaranteed. But the Cat Ranger outfit really kick-ass. I wish she was a Ranger full-time, but Dr. Cat, easily one of the greatest support characters we've ever had. She built the tech. She was the emotional heart of the Ranger team more than Sid ever was. So Cat, going on Savior of the Universe. But number one character, Doggy Kruger. Yes, I agree. This is one of the greatest Six Rangers we've ever had. Doggy Kruger, badass. He is the Optimus Prime of Power Rangers. Great character arc, great character development, had some of the baddest moments in the series. He kicks Grum's butt in the finale. The Shadow Ranger is one of the best characters, and he actually made it on the video game because he was that awesome. It also gives me the headcanon that Power Rangers SPD exists in the same universe as Game Over. Jack became trapped in the video game after he retired. That could be pretty funny. Yeah, Doggy Kruger, he's so awesome that he actually made a cat love a dog. That's how you know he's awesome. The Shadow Ranger is easily the best character of SPD. Worst one, going to Sam. He is awful. Worst is Sam. Top dog is literally our dog, Doggy. But anyways, yeah, that pretty much completes our list. Sorry we sped through it, but what can I say? A lot of one-shot characters, but we talked about all the ones you wanted to hear. Namely, Doggy and Cat are the top two for me, and the bottom two are Sam and Nova because they are a complete waste of time and space. Okay, so yeah, take a picture if you can't see. Sorry, it's a lot bigger than our usual tier list, but that's what we get for doing every Power Ranger character. So, really love SPD. It is a decent show. I do not consider it one of the greatest Power Ranger shows of all time. It might make my top 10, but only at like number 10 or 9. I do think Lost Galaxy, Time Force, and especially In Space are far superior, but SPD is one of the more watchable Ranger shows. It is definitely a fun series. It has obviously some great characters too, so I do like them. Some awesome moments, kick-ass fight scenes, and a very rushed finale, but one that does its series at least justice, especially compared to later shows. Beautiful list. Thank you, Mass Mailer. Glad you showed up. So, I really had fun doing this. We'll see what our next tier list is. I might do a different genre, but if you're curious for Power Rangers, most likely In Space. I am currently watching In Space. Want to rewatch Dino Thunder, but we'll see which show I finish first, basically. Wolf and I are watching In Space together, so you might actually see Wolf banter with us on that list. But In Space, Dino Thunder, both S-tier classics, so it's a win-win with whichever we end up with. Anyways, completes my list. Remember, Sam and Nova, bottom 2, Dr. Cat and Doggy, top 2, because they are the best. SPD, I would actually recommend if you want to watch a dumb fun Ranger show. I really need to rewatch In Space. Yeah, you need to. In Space is one of the quintessential Ranger classics. It is an awesome show, and I'm actually really liking it. Wolf is taking a slow time getting into it, but he'll change his tune once the Psycho Rangers appear. So yeah, pretty much the end of our SPD list. So with that, I'll let you guys free. You guys gotta go off to your SPD emergency. So, thank you for watching. We'll see what our next tier list is. I'm so glad you guys enjoy these tier lists and really love getting my Power Ranger power on. Or it's morphin' time. Until next time. Yep. So, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, or just tune in for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and this was Judgment.